got Nina. Round of applause for Nina. Daniel, Joann, Brad, and David. So the people that I have here, these are people that really, they're all different sections of business, or different layers. So we've got Joann and Brad, they're single location owners, but what they're doing on the care side, I really, really enjoy, and I want to talk to you guys about that. And Brad, the numbers, the way you look at them, I really want to talk to you about that. Daniel and Nina, they've got now 5 locations, looking to open up 3 more. You're opening up 3 more?
Well, can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
So our goal is to reach 10 by the end of the year.
10 by the end of the year.
Total.
Okay. And David, how many you're up to 35 locations right now?
No.
No, okay. Well, I'm sorry. I remember 35 somewhere.
Somewhere, probably low 20s now.
Low 20s. Okay, so Dave's a business guy, okay? So Dave, you have Orange Theories, Massage Envies, cryotherapy companies, and a spin company?
European Wax Center.
And European Wax Center. So the difference between everybody that's up on stage that I see is, this is the kind of, you guys are more like where I'm at right now, you two, where you're just like, okay, we've got this one thing, we're building the hell out of it, and we want to make sure that everything right now is all about caring. And then Daniel, you two have already taken now, you're like the content game, where these guys are doing so much on the content side. You've got a show now, and you guys are constantly producing. You have a podcast, you're doing stuff with food, and you really get your names out there. And Dave, I couldn't find a picture on the internet no matter what I Googled. Because you are the business guy. You are the guy that's just like, look, I do it because I know how to do business, period. And I don't care what business you throw at me, I don't care what it is. I know how to run these businesses like a businessman, and you're old school with all that. It was hard to find a pic, man. It was hard to find a pic.
A picture of me?
Yeah.
Well, that's by design. Do you want to see this face?
I was like, so that's Dave. That's what he looks like. Okay, with Daniel, you can't avoid him on social. So they all do things a little differently, and I thought it'd be a great combination to bring everyone up, and then we could. I'm going to be asking them some questions, but also I'd like to see you guys participate here in a little bit as well. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, you're watching almost like a live GSD show. Is that pretty cool? Yes. All right. Should I do the whole? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Arce. Welcome back to another episode of the GSD show, and today I'm here with Nina, Daniel, Joann, Brad, and Dave. Guys, welcome to the show. That was pretty cool. I haven't done that in a while. All right. I've done it 78 times, actually. Actually, probably like 84, because there's a few I had to do over, because I didn't mess it up. Okay, so I want to actually start with you, Joann. Okay, and Brad. So you two, you were the ones with the story of Carolyn, the one that everybody at the funeral just came and embraced you. And this just happened a week ago.
Yeah, she passed on May 8th.
May 8th, okay, so
Yeah.
about a month ago. And so, not too long ago, but
my last session with her was on May 4th.
May 4th, okay.
She would have been 80 in September.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about what kind of attention you had to give to Carolyn, and how and why you think that impacted the company so much, the family so much. Tell me about that relationship, and then also how you managed that with all the other members that were going, because you're a body studio, so there's things in the way. It's not like you have a lot of space to work
Right,
with.
yeah.
She has an oxygen tank and all that. So what was that like?
Yeah. Well, she became a member in our first years that we were open, and she didn't have the oxygen tank and any of that. But we really did find that with our niche, with being Pilates studio, it's not that boxing studio or that CrossFit studio where young people, can go in and be crazy and their bodies don't fall apart. It's more a safe place for people who start to feel like their bodies are falling apart because of all the wrong exercise they've done growing up. That they come to find a place where they can have, their back hurts so their knees are falling apart and that sort of thing. So we do get a more mature client base. That's what I call it. I don't say older people. So she was one of those people, and they built a great camaraderie. So that was another great thing about our studio, is that all of these older women that could build friendships, and they thought, oh, I wish I would have been doing this in my 20s and 30s, and here they are coming in for the first time in their 60s. So it was great for them to just have that community of people that they could work out with together. And then they all start, getting these diagnoses and that sort of thing. And when she got the lung cancer, and it was just a community for her. Not only did she never missed a workout, never. She was there 3 times a week, every week. And the same ladies, all of them in their 60s and 70s, and they were always there for each other. So that was a big part of her coming back, was not only the workout, but the camaraderie that we all had together for her and for everyone. So then she had the pneumonia and the congestive heart failure and had to keep coming with oxygen. But it never stopped her. I mean, she kept coming. And that, even for the younger people that would come in, and some younger people would come into our studio and say, there's so many old people here. So I think we sometimes lost members because, the 20-somethings would come in and think that it was a place for old people. But then they saw that these women are still doing it, and they would be able to get through a workout, and they wouldn't. They could lay on their back and stick their legs up in the air and lift their head, and these girls were pulling their legs and going, I can't hold my legs up anymore. And these 60-year-old women were like kicking their butts. Yeah. So it really gave them incentive to keep coming, like maybe this is what we should be doing. So it was really great, the generations that we see in our studio and that sort of thing. And then when she got the pneumonia, then the last time, a couple times she came in, she had to walk her. And it was heartbreaking for all of the members. We didn't think we were going to see her for very much longer. And then, yeah, she had an appointment with me on Monday morning. She emailed me and said, I'm so sorry to disappoint you, but I had a really bad night last night, and I can't make our workout. I'm sorry to disappoint you. That's what she said. And that night she died. Wow. In her sleep, peacefully, in her home. So that would have been the way she wanted it, because she was a worker. She had a will to live, and those people that have a will to live are good customers, because they keep coming, and they not only because they keep coming, because they show everyone around them that you have to keep going. You can't give up. You have to keep going until
Well, the cool thing was, at the funeral, you had people coming up to you, all different family members, thanking you, because you guys probably hear people say this. I think we're more in tune with it than most other industries, because we're into fitness, right? You hear when people are eating very unhealthy, or they're living non-active lifestyles, and they go, look, when you go, you go. When it's time to go, you go. And they're thinking that it's like that. Like one day you're fun and healthy, and then you just you go. But in reality, we're like anything with laptops or cell phones. It's a decline. And the last 10 years, the last 15 years may look very differently when you live a very healthy, active lifestyle versus when you don't. And what you were able to help her do, her time was going to be her time, but it could have looked very differently. Not just for her, but for all of her family members that would have had to have gone through, watching her suffer and watching her not be as excited. I mean, her whole family knew who you were, and they never been in your studio.
I had never even met any of her stepchildren, and they're all adults, and she was a grandmother and that sort of thing. But they all hugged me and just said, oh my gosh, she loved you so much, she loved your workouts, she loved your studio, and that's why you do what you do.
Mm-hmm. And so that's one of the things Rob talked about. Whenever we all get caught up in our business all the time, or sometimes we let it get in the way of how we're working with our families, how we're even communicating with our employees, because we know that we have a job to do, and sometimes we just get so in the zone that we forget why we do what we do, and it becomes sales driven, numbers driven. And don't get me wrong, those things you have to focus on, but nobody makes 7 sales in a day and goes, that's why I do what I do. Unless you're maybe Grant Cardone. But outside of Grant Cardone, you don't make 7 sales in a day. Some of you have made that, right? I know you've definitely made 7 sales in a day. So you don't have that happen and go, man, that's why I wake up every morning. No, you wake up every morning for stories like that, and stories, Felicia, you shared with me of members that you have. And I think once we realize that that's why we do what we do, we should find ways to create more of those stories. That's why we're here today, right? Because this is here. I wanted to learn more about you guys and what you guys go through, and I want my team to know that. We actually did something at Louderman that was really cool a couple months back, where I literally pay for all the employees to visit 4 fitness studios in a 1-day pass per month, and then 2 cryotherapy centers per month, and then I give them a free massage when they log those in. And so we're paying for it. It costs a few $100s per month per employee, but I want them to feel it. I want them to see, all that stuff, because I want them to remember why we do what we do, and it's not just the numbers and the leads and all that stuff. It's a lot deeper, like these stories, which is really great. And the second thing I want to bring up, she talks about demographic, the younger demographic, getting a little afraid of the older demographic, but studies have shown that in the fitness industry, under 24 years old, there's an average of a 3-month retention rate. Between 25 and 34, it's an average of a 7-month retention rate, and then up to 44 years, from 35 to 44 was a 11-month retention rate, and 45 and up was a 14-month retention rate. So the funny thing is, we think we go younger for longevity because they're going to live for longer, but in reality, there's a reason bars in Old Town Scottsdale, for those of you in Arizona, literally turn every 3-5 years. Is because they want to mix up, they want to keep changing.
Well, talking about demographic, we recently relocated our studio into a better location. We were in a location that was very up and coming, new homes, young families with young kids. They don't have a lot of time or money to spend on themselves. They're too busy putting their money and their time into their little ones. So we moved 2 years ago to an area where they're more empty nesters, their kids are out of high school and college, now they have all this extra time and disposable income to spend on themselves. That's our client base.
And once they find something that they like?
Yes, and they're looking for something too because they're alone. Their kids are gone, they're not as busy. Anyone who has little ones, we have 3 kids, and it's crazy. So once that's over, what do they have to do? They spend time on themselves. So that's a great client. Right. Because they're coming all the time, they're trying to look for new friendships and something to commit themselves with. So that doubled our business, relocating.
But also on the retention rate with the older clientele, I found a lot of their motivation is from their peers. Decline. Mm-hmm. We have a lot where they've been with us and then maybe they're 55, the next thing they're 60, 65. They've been coming to us for 5, 10, 15 years, and their friends haven't really been doing anything, and they see how much they've aged, right, and how much they've slowed down, and the aches and pains, and they're golfing together, so that the country club and they're golfing, and that's all they're doing, where our clients are continually getting stronger and staying healthy, and I think that's probably a connecting link to that.
You don't see that at 24, 26.
Exactly. They're invincible at that point.
Cool.
And so it's just more in their face when they can looking in the mirror at their peers and like, wow, you've really aged. Mm-hmm. And that's a big selling point for us.
Very cool.
Because they ask them like, why should we re-up for this year? I'm like, go take a trip with your friends, and then you'll see why. Because they're wanting to stop and you're wanting to keep on going. That's why they keep coming back.
That's awesome. Pretty cool, right? Dave.
This is a hard room to sell that on because there's a lot of young people in there.
We're the only one with cheaters.
Listen. They'll all be old one day. Dave, I want to go to you next.
Yep.
So, when did you start your first business? How long ago was it?
30-some years ago.
Okay.
I'm probably the old man in the crowd.
No. So Dave, 30-some years ago, so now you're managing not just a lot of businesses. I mean, I think it'd be difficult for us to, consider managing 5, 10, 15 locations just alone within one brand, but you're doing it with several different brands, brand guidelines, rules, types of offers, types of expenses. So how do you do that? What are the things that you look at as a business person in order to be able to, sit at the top and really make sure that all the pieces are going the way they're supposed to be?
Yeah, it's a great question, and save me some time tomorrow because we're on the clock tomorrow, so I can take some time here. The principles are the same when I had one company or where I am now. The difference is when I had one company, I could hide better and I could hide certain things better, and I didn't need as many people. But the principle was the same because in this room, you can already tell in the interactions I've had, you all are really good, and some of you all are extremely good. And you don't need anybody to run one business, really. You could do what Tom did. You could be up at 5 o'clock in the morning, stay there till 11 o'clock, do laundry, 2 o'clock, do it all over, and do it and get away with that. Well, when you had a second location, just like you said, you can't do that anymore. The principles he'd probably tell you at the same time was, you got to do those same principles, which is you need a team around you, and you need a good team around you. Well, I mean, I was telling Molly when I walked in, I had the group that I'm starting the cryotherapy business with, they came up to see my team in Seattle because they wanted to meet my team. And they're sitting around this room, these kids are 22 to 34 years old. And they're looking around and saying, where did you get these guys? How did you find them? We can't find these people anywhere. And they didn't realize that this has been a process of 5 years of developing these people. It takes time to get that. And you have to have excellent people. It's the number one thing. And you need that in one business, or if you have 100 businesses, it doesn't matter. You've got to have good people, and you have to develop them, and it takes time. The great part of this generation, some of you all are part of it, some of you are a little older than that, is they are looking for passion. They are looking for meaning. They're looking for purpose. We can't compete financially, honestly. I mean, we're going to only get to a certain point where we can only pay them so much. And then somebody else is going to always be able to pay them more on that. But what you want is you want to have something that is so valuable to them as part of a family, as part of a vision, as part of passion, as part of something that they do in their life, that it would rip their guts out to go take that $3 or $4 more an hour job, or maybe $5,000 more in a salary. It rips their arm off. And that's literally by design. I want my staff to hurt when they say it's time to go somewhere else. I'm going to cry with them, I'm going to love them, but I want them to hurt because it's something of value here, and you have to add that kind of value to your staff. It's the number one thing. Second is you got to know your business, and that's the biggest thing. You're hearing a theme, everybody's talking the same thing, every speaker's coming up there saying, you got to be good at your craft, and you got to know it, and you need to know it well. Doesn't mean you have to be the best personal trainer to be running a fitness center, you don't. But you better know what a good fitness professional has. What's a great Group X class? What's a group fitness is? You better know what that is. I don't need to walk into a big box or Mountainside or Orange Theory where we're going. I don't have to know every intricate detail of being a professional personal trainer. But I can walk into any gym, anywhere, and within 15 minutes I can say, that's an elite trainer, and that's one that's going to be gone in 2 months. You can do that. I mean, I can walk into any Orange Theory in the country, and I know when that is an unbelievable coach and when that's a shit coach. 5 minutes in. It doesn't take anything, and they're all doing the same stuff. But can't you tell? I mean, let's be honest, you can tell that. I'm 50-some guy, middle-aged dude. I know more about removing hair from the human body than anybody like that. I don't do it. I'm not going to rip people's hair off. But I'll tell you what, I know what's good and I know what's bad. You've got to know that. And you better know that craft. You better know your business, and you got to watch it. Most of you all are people. You are. You're in fitness for a reason. You're people. When the accountant, which by the way, my accountant does not look like that accountant. I mean, she's tatted up, leather pants, high heels. Where the hell did you get her? I mean, I just feel like rock and roll going to come down here in accounting. It was the coolest thing ever. I hate numbers, but the number one thing that I can tell you is the numbers don't lie. And you better know your numbers. All numbers are not created equal. And a lot of people, you can all of a sudden start emphasizing on one thing, one number. That's the most important. The close percent. If you don't close at 25%, you just start focusing on that, and all of a sudden, you're actually focusing on the wrong thing. Because I know some of the businesses I'm in, we close unbelievable, but our net member gain's going backwards. Well, that's a problem because top in the country, I'm closed, but I'm losing money. That's what this is about, is making money and growing on that. And so for me, my coffee in the morning at 4:45, I don't get up at 45. I'll never get up at 4:45 in the morning. But my first cup of coffee, I'm looking at my numbers. I hate it. I don't like it. I would rather go out and do anything else other than to look at the numbers. But I got to know the numbers, and I got to know them well, and I got to know what they mean. And then I've got to be able to translate that to my team on what those numbers mean. All numbers are not created equal, and I want to make sure that I'm emphasizing to my team what the numbers that do matter, because it changes. 1 month, maybe this number is more important than that number on that. I mean, that can tell you this. I know a problem's happening in one of my studios, and I never have to walk in the door. Never. I know exactly what's wrong. I know there's a culture problem by numbers. Now, you all know culture. I mean, you can't define it, but you know it when you see it. Numbers tell you that. And so you got to know your numbers. So, anyway, that's all.
Everything, I don't want to just chime in, but like you just like spoke to my heart there for just a second, because everything that you just said is something that I think is so important. And I'm definitely not an expert in this room, and I'm a little nervous to speak, but the employee thing is so true. We have an Orange Theory. I love Orange Theory, by the way. We have one on either side of us, and we just had an F45 open up like a block away from us. And our employees could go anywhere. We don't pay them what you guys can and what everybody else can, but every time we talk to them, we do this because we love you guys and we love this place. We could, one of my head coach has an HR degree. She's like, I could go and make, way more money than I do it, but it's because I love you guys, I believe in what you do, and I believe in your business. And like, when you find people like that, they're gold. And they're hard to find, they really are. But like Tiffany's our head coach, she's been with us since we started. She's been there since day one, and you just grow them and you nurture them and you make them part of the business. I think somebody else said, share your numbers with your people. Yeah, it's kind of a cliche thing to do because you're like, oh, it's my business, you don't want to share. Share like, this is what we're doing this month, this is how many members we have, this is where our revenue is at. With my studio manager, she knows just as much as I do about my numbers because she's the one that's driving them. She's the one that's there every single day. So it's important to share those numbers with your people and get them on the same page. That's how you buy them into the business. And the other thing is, you want to make these people feel like they're going to have a career with you. If you have a growth vision for your business, involve your people in that. Let them know where you want to go and make them a part of that, because when you make them a part of that, your business grows so much more. And I do the same thing every morning. I have a financial degree and I freaking hate numbers, but every morning I have a business consultant, and every day he asks me for certain numbers every single morning because they don't lie. And even as literally a micro business, you have to know that stuff. If you don't want to be part of that 30, 55, or 60%, you got to do the shit that sucks, but you got to do it. So that was
That's room coffee.
everything that you just
Yeah, good cup of coffees and bad cup.
Yeah.
That needs to be one of your GSD shows, how to find that golden employee. How to
Yeah,
find
we
that
actually,
golden
we had
employees.
it. In fact, what we did for this episode, it was our first episode with the Sports Center theme. We had an intern, Christina, and she said that she really wanted to be like a host of a show one day. And so I thought like, okay, well, why don't you host this one? This is perfect. And so she interviewed on like the recruiting and the interviewing and the hiring and all that stuff. And yeah, so that's episode like 33 or 39. There you go, Sam. Sam knows. Sam, hold on, let's see. What's Daniel's episode number?
33.
26.
No, it was
26,
30,
isn't
no,
it?
it was 33.
No way.
Yeah, it was on the screen.
Get out of here. That was 26. What was Brittany's?
73.
You know what the funny thing is? I went to a Chinese restaurant. I remember like 10 years ago. It was China Rainbow. It's right on 6th, 7th Ave in like Cactus. And I go there to eat, and I go, yeah, can I have the sweet and sour chicken? And she says with a thick accent. She goes, what number is it? And I go, oh, I don't know. I need to look. Who knows that? I don't look at the, I just kind of like say what I want, you know. So I go, I don't know, just a sweet and sour chicken. She's like, what number? What number? And I'm like, I don't know, just sweet and sour chicken. She's like, what number? So then I go, 64. She goes, okay, sweet and sour chicken, and walks away. And I feel like that's Sam with GST episodes. It's the most bizarre. If you guys ever want to laugh, have a couple shots and go to China Rainbow, and take your best friend that you like laughing with. Okay, so the numbers thing, I 100% agree. I agree with you. I hate the numbers too. One thing's one of my mentors, Dave Berg. He's going to be here tomorrow as well. Super smart guy. He gave me this advice because I hated to do everything but sales. I really did. And so he, you know, when I first came to him, I had a people problem. I just didn't connect with anyone unless they were just like me. And so he's like, okay, you need to like have yearly themes. So I had one theme where it was like all about leadership and culture. And it was great because after that year, that following year, we won Best Place to Work in Phoenix, which I thought was really cool. And then that next year, we had a new theme. That was the whole idea. And so the next theme was numbers and like really understanding the numbers. And so I had to like have meetings with accounting pros, and every day I looked at the numbers harder than I've ever looked, every single day. And we went from an 11% net profit to a 34% net profit, and that's that we spent $60,000 on something that really didn't have anything to do with the business. It was on the following year. It didn't need that to actually sustain or run the business that we had that year. So that was really incredible as well. And now this year we're really focusing on experience, which is this right here, right? That's the entire theme of this year. We had a 2-day retreat here at the end of the year. So maybe for you guys, maybe it works for you as well. Think about what's your theme going to be for that particular year. Not maybe like, what am I going to work on today? And then once it seems like it's better, then I'll like stop it. Like, what's your theme going to be for that year? Because it's going to be a long time. I plan on being a business owner for the rest of my life, you know? So, I mean, I don't have to rush getting good at something, but what we talked about, whatever you practice, what happens? You get good at it, right? And then Grant Cardone said in our episode, right? People love what they're good at. If you love to sing, or if you're a good singer, you're gonna wanna sing. If you're good at playing basketball, you're gonna wanna like play basketball in front of people as often as you can. If you're good at sales, you wanna sell. If you're good at the numbers, I believe I got really good at the numbers, then you actually enjoy the numbers. But how many of you guys feel like on a scale of 1 to 10, you're probably below a 5 in really knowing your numbers? Okay, now keep your hands up if you hate the numbers. Yeah, it's pretty consistent, right? So I think that's really something that's important. Okay, cool. So for you two.
May I add to the hiring?
Yes.
So just like everybody said here, that first is the who and then the what. That I always say, and that's why I keep my eyes open anytime wherever I go. If I find the right person, I hire the person and find out what they can do, and then basically put them into the right seat on my bus. Just like Mike said that it's whatever they hate or like, it is you as the, you can call it as the orchestra leader, right? That's what you find out what they're good at, what they like, and more than likely if they like it, it's because they're good at it, and trickle down their strength, and that's what they need to work at, instead of like having them answer phones if they have nothing to do with it, but they're really good at signing up clients, for example. But our hiring process was featured in many, many magazines, including Entrepreneur magazine, just because we have this crazy hiring process for a fitness industry, and we get resumes, so many trainers, and we get, by the way, hundreds of them every single week. They literally say and ask us that, why do I have to do all this? This is just personal training. So as soon as they emailed us, we're like, you don't have to, you know, but you're out. So the point is that
easy.
Yeah, and by the way, because of all these things, we have a really big, lots of steps to get just an interview with me. And it's not like I'm somebody up high or something. It's just there's so many steps before they get to the end of the last interview. And then once we hire them, they go through, we hire them as employees if they finally make it, and they are trained for a whole month for 40-hour work weeks for basically for a whole month, not doing anything else but schooling in our academy system. And once they graduate and they pass the test, then they go on through for a 90-day review to make sure that they are ready. And after they pass that 90-day, just only then can call themselves a true personal trainer at For You Fitness. So for us, it's basically a 4-month of training process, intensive training process.
Pretty crazy. And here's the cool thing too, it's an ongoing, it's not 4 months and it's over. I was just in your St. Pete's location,
Yes.
right, in Florida. I went out there to go do a couple episodes of The GOAT Show, and some of you guys say you watch The GOAT Show, so that's cool. So I went out there to go do a couple episodes of the GOAT Show, and it was not far from your location, so I was like, all right, let's go over there. So we walk in, and you didn't really know exactly what time we were going to be there. We just kind of walk in, and he's got 4 or 5 of his trainers all in one room with their lead trainer, the best in sales, and she's literally going through Trainual, which Chris Ronzi will be here tomorrow. He's freaking awesome. He's one of my efficiency coaches. You're going to want to see this guy. This guy blows my mind every time. But they're going through and they're literally role-playing and they're training and they're going through things, and she's like cutting them off. No, you don't do that when that happens. You do this. And I just walked in, and for me, that's like Rob in Disneyland, right? When Rob's in Disneyland, he's like, yes, there's, the beast. I'm like, yes, there's a sales trainer. It's amazing. Look at her go. And so I had fun. I sat down and we hung out there, and we actually ended up participating in that training for like 2 hours or so. And it was just really fun to watch people that are trainers really know the tough stuff and really take part in the thing that most trainers don't want to. They say, oh, I don't like being in sales. I don't like it. How many of you guys have seen that with your trainers, your instructors, like where they go, look, if they like it, they like it. I don't like being a salesperson, or I'm not a salesperson. They say that, right? It's just like, you don't have to be a salesperson. You're selling me so hard that you're not a salesperson. You're like the best salesperson I've met. I'm almost sold. Because the Cowboys fan's a great salesperson, aren't they? That Droid fan Get two Droid people in a room with an Apple person, watch the sales happen. You know, and we're all salespeople, but the thing is you gotta get them to, number one, be passionate about that thing, the Apple, the phone, the Harley Davidson, right? Harley people believe it's Harleys and whatever else. That's it, right? And so for your case, you really get them bought into what you do. I know you guys do as well. We have to do the same thing here at Loudwoomer. And then from there, the process of how to get people to do it. Because now they want everybody to do it, because they believe in it and love it so much. They want everyone to do it. Now, let me show you how you can do that. Let me show you how, Cowboys fan, how you can get everyone to be a Cowboys fan. Wouldn't that be cool? That'd be amazing. Great. Let me show you exactly how to get every Packers fan to become a Cowboys fan. Every Giants fan. That'd be a dream for them. So that's what you were able to do, and I really love that. Okay, now I want to talk to you about sales in this way. Because one thing that I really liked about Daniel is I really went back and forth between GSD, and remember we were talking the other day about FIO, figure it out, and you figure it out, right? So you had the issue where you had leads coming in from a lot of places. Obviously you have our stuff, but you have referrals coming in, and you have a lot of social media you guys do organically, and you have publications out there, and you speak, and you got your book, so you got leads coming in. So normally we just work harder, or we let some leads kind of go by the wayside, right? And it's like we take care of what we can, and some leads, unfortunately, I wish I had time to take care of them better. All your leads get taken care of. So what did you do to solve the problem when you got leads, you got inundated with leads, and you needed to make sure every single one got the attention every single time?
I know everybody wants to hear delegation, but it was leverage. What happened? So first of all, when I started working with Mike, I right away had to put a pause on it. Not working with Mike, but we had multiple locations already, but we want to start out with one location because I wasn't sure if it's true or not because it sounded too good to be true when he said we're going to get like hundreds of leads in like a week, and we got, I think, 300 and something. So once we got that, I was like, okay, we cannot add in any of the studios as much as I wanted to. I had to sit down, and I think it took like 3 months until we reached out back to Mike, and I said, okay, let's do it with all of our locations. Because I was the one actually at that time to answer my phones. That was 2 years ago. And first of all, my English was even worse than what it is now. So you can imagine.
That's before he wrote a book.
Yes, that's also true. So when I pick up the phone, they're like, hi, I'm Daniel from For You Fitness. And they're like, who and from what? And then for the first like minute, that was the conversation, trying to explain who's on the phone. Right? So what it is was that I had to create the processes. And once I wrote everything out and put the process that we need to have this, you need to say this, the scripts, the automations, the text messages, the each individual that will handle that. I paused and then I went out and hired an operations person, and then I went out and hired salespeople who actually pick up the phone. And also we had receptionist service, like a really expensive one that can handle Ruby receptionist, who are really expensive, and they're like, oh, even when I called on the phone with them, they didn't really take me seriously because they're like, well, we never worked with a gym before. We only work with attorneys and hospitals. So obviously because of their price range, and I was like, yeah, but we need it. And then they didn't understand. But anyways, so the point was that every single phone call when they come in, they were handled, and worst case, they just take a message, and then we kept calling them back right away. But I had to find a way in order to do it without me being involved in it at all. So it was writing out, the sales processes, and then hire the right people, and then leverage them to make sure they reach their goal every single day, like wearing that shirt, every day that they didn't have to reach that 900% rule.
Mm-hmm. I saw the sales process. It's all documented and trainable, all of it, step by step, and then everyone has to take quizzes to pass through before they can even see the next part of the test. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was pretty cool. Okay, so David, what's your sales process like?
Similar, we found the same thing. If you don't hit the lead like that, it just diminishes as time goes on. And the hardest part as leaders in doing that is to get your staff to understand how expensive that one lead that comes in is, and to be able to do that. So one, you got to follow it, and you got to do it immediately and repeatedly. That's the other thing, the hardest thing to get my staff to understand is when somebody gives me information of their name and the phone number, said I'm interested in your product, until they say no, they are a yes. And until they say, quit calling me, you're calling them. And I want you to call them every day if you can get through your list every day. And as the leads build, it's harder and harder for them to do that. But I want to see an email, and I want to see a text at least every day until they get pissed, because you're doing your job. because it cost me a lot of money to get that one person to say, I'm interested in doing that. So those are the two biggest things for me, is one, hit them quick, and you hit them hard. And if you don't do it, I mean, you're losing money. And, you know, I'm a simple guy. Well, I'm not that simple, but two things are important. Culture and the ROI. And if the ROI doesn't make sense, you gotta stop doing it. I mean, I've sold businesses like that because the ROI is not there, because I don't have that kind of time. And in your staff, you wanna build that culture, but you better make sure you're getting a return on your money. And sales, to me, you ask any of my staff, what's the number one most important thing in our business? And they're gonna tell you this. Culture. What's the number one thing? Sales. And it depends on my mood, which one's number one really. And then it's documentation. Document. I can just tell you, if I don't see it on the numbers in our contact logs or in my reporting system, it's not real. I mean, you ask them, if it's not in the system, I don't care what you tell me you did, I don't care what you think you did. If it's not there, it didn't happen. So document, because you cannot follow. I mean, if you have one salesperson, you can't follow up with them. I mean, you can't. I mean, you'd have to literally follow around them to be able to do that. You gotta see it. And one, that's the accountability that's there. If they know they gotta write it down or they gotta report it, man, all of a sudden they're going, And we all know the sharks in our business, correct? I mean, we all are scared to death in the fitness world of our sharks. You gotta have them, but sharks are dangerous. You better be on them and know exactly what's going on. If they say they sold 10 sales, you know what I'm doing that next day? I'm auditing all 10 sales. Gotta guarantee you they're not 10 sales. There's probably 3, maybe 4. If a good day, maybe 5. And the shit that they sold me on the other 5, they're just lying to me to steal my money because they're sharks. That's what they are. And you gotta be able to do that. So processes, accountability, following the numbers.
Something I just had our employees certainly on that note, on the documentation side, because I know some people in here use My Body, and like going into the contact logs and typing that stuff out can be like super monotonous. So something I learned on a podcast that I listened to was having my employees email me at the end of every shift everything that they did. It doesn't matter if you cleaned, I want to know. I don't care if you started the heart rate monitor system, I want to know. I want to know every single thing that you did during that shift. If you made a sale, I want to know. That way it gives me a picture of like exactly what they did in their shift. It's all written out, and it also holds them accountable because they know they have to send it to me. And if there's only 3 things on the list and they were there for 5 hours, I'm going to be like, what the hell were you doing for 5 hours when there's only 3 things on your list?
We have specific shift goals.
Yeah.
And I want to see them. And it helps the next shift coming in to know what that prior shift does, to be able to document so they know, because there are stuff that's going to happen, particularly in the sales, that can happen that day. And I just don't want to lose that stuff. So I mean, down to that number on the shifts and what do you need to hit today. I mean, we all know how many leads do you have to do to get the number of prospects to be able to walk through the door in the intros. You know how many you have to sell to be able, I mean, you know all those numbers. You should know those numbers as a business owner. Your staff needs to know those numbers, and they need to be held accountable to those numbers that day. Well, how do they know? I have more basketball analogies than you could ever dream.
I'll destroy you.
Oh my gosh. There is, the great part of sports is you know the score any time during the game. All I have to do is look at that damn scoreboard. Why do we not have that same principle within our businesses for our staff to be able to know where they are, where they're not, are they behind, are they ahead, how much time's left, what they need to do? That's the great part of sports, to be able to do that. So,
Very cool.
Speaking of scoreboards, we actually have a visual scoreboard of leads, calls, things like that for our trainers so they can better understand. It's color coordinated. It's easy for them to read and understand. It gives them motivation because they are competing against other trainers. So at the end of the day, that's what they're working towards.
That's really cool. We actually have the same thing. We have our Loudimer scoreboard, and I think James and Victoria, you two were going neck and neck this month or last month, right? And was it getting a little feisty towards the end? Yeah. But the funny thing is, all it was about who can get more retention and who can get more sales, meaning upsells, add-ons. So at the end of the day, it equaled who can help our customers more.
Right.
Which is an amazing thing,
You make
right?
it a game and they want to play.
Yeah, I mean, I like playing that game. That's what I like. I want to play. You know, and for those of you here, how many of you guys don't consider yourselves salespeople, or like you're intimidated by the sales process? You know, you got a ways to go. So, Brittany's a great example. I coached Brittany about 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, something like that. And I remember she thought she had guts at the time. She has guts now. She thought she had guts at the time. And I was like, look, you've got to do this. When you get to the sales pitch, you got to do this. And I gave her some stuff to do, and she's like, okay. And then she called me back, and we had our next session. She's like, it didn't work. I'm like, what do you mean it didn't work? How did it not work? It works every time. Tell me what happened. She goes, I did this, it didn't work. I go, well, what about the other times? I did it this other time, it didn't work. I go, what about the other times? That's it, I just did it twice. So ready, you know what I said, David? I said, you took 2 shots, and you want to know if that shot works? I go, you got to shoot that ball a lot. And that was the analogy, right? But the idea was, she tested it twice. The first 2 times ever, it didn't work, and she goes, that doesn't work. It's not that that doesn't work. Babe Ruth got 2 strikes in a row before. That happens. Okay,
And
so
then he proceeded to spend 2 hours on the phone with me role playing. If you've ever role played with Mike Arce before, it was the most embarrassing thing in my entire life. I'm like, but now I'm like,
now she's a gangster.
I am a gay.
Now she closes. She'll like randomly like message me. She'll be like, I got 6 sales in a row. And I'm like, what? All right, awesome. So yes, no, and so the reason I asked that for you guys is, if you guys feel like there's a way to go, just know that in the beginning, you're your worst at the first, right? And so you get better as you go. Repetition, like we talked about, is the mother of skills. So you guys just got to continue doing it.
Hey Mike, do you have any resources like books or anything?
GSD shows are amazing. But for sales, I really like You Can't Teach a Kid to Ride a Bike at a Seminar by David Sandler. I really like Sell or Be Sold. It starts with why isn't considered a sales book. It's more like a culture book. But if you can sell with your why and really understand what their why is, I think it's an important part of really understanding that. The Ultimate Sales Machine isn't a strategy book on how to talk, but it's an incredible book on really understanding how easily it is to upsell when you actually ask, when you should do the upsell. Oh, and Priceless, the book that Richard gave me, is really great. You don't realize how little things play in psychology and sales psychology, like the 99 deal, right? And I don't want to ruin my talk for tomorrow, but tomorrow I'm going to be going over some cool sales stuff that I really am expecting a lot of you guys never to have heard before, but it's going to be backed up, and you guys are going to see exactly how this stuff really works. And it's pretty cool. So I think, yes, definitely learning, but also Bruce Lee said, you got to be more afraid of the guy that practices 1 kick at 10,000 times than the guy that practices 10,000 kicks. And I might have botched, it might be 1,000, I'm not sure, but you get the idea of it, right? So just practice is one thing. Read 1 book. Don't read like 40 books and 40 different styles. Right now, just get with 1 guy or 1 person and then just study their stuff. You know it works. And just get really good at that and study that person really, really well. And then once you've got that in your belt in second nature, then maybe you can explore what this guy does and how that guy does it. But I don't recommend doing it all at once. Oh, Eric, too. Eric wrote a book called The Art of Selling Memberships. He's going to be speaking tomorrow. This guy's done incredible stuff. So you guys are going to get to see him tomorrow, too.
There's an episode of the GSD show, maybe Sam can help me out with this one, that Mike did all by himself, and it was all sales. And I think I've listened to it like 4 times.
34.
No joke.
That's 34.
Is that 34?
Yeah.
Listen to that episode. I've listened to it like 3 or 4 times. Every time I would go to like sell my 6-week challenge meetings, I would listen to that episode just because it was always good, like top of mind stuff. That's a good one.
Episode 34?
Yeah.
Episode 34.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so Joann, you guys, we've had a couple rounds with IMX in your location, right? So we had your round at first, and I remember when I first met with you, it was kind of like, I don't think you knew what you were going to go through, and so you didn't really have a sales process for it. Now you have a really good sales process. So talk to me about the difference between, Joann 1 and Joann 2 that I experienced.
Well, we're still working on it. And actually, is this still on? Is this still on? No?
Can we pass that?
Sorry, that's better. Actually, being here is making me realize that I have no idea what I'm doing. I thought I was much better at my job until I sat here all day today, and I'm like, wow, I'm missing the boat on so many things. So this has been really great for me, and I think you too. But yeah, when we first started with you guys, the amount of leads that came in on that first weekend, that Monday morning, I was so not prepared for all those leads that came in. I didn't even know how to handle them. So we'd never done social media marketing before. We've been in business for 12 years, and we started with Loud Rumor a little over 1.5 years ago. And I think since we've been in our new location and with Loud Rumor, our business has doubled.
It's pretty cool.
So if you are a new business and just now getting into Loud Rumor, you guys are in the right place.
So now, really quick,
I would have started it when I first opened.
I appreciate testimonial, but I really want to know strategy. But I do appreciate testimonial. Thank you. Can we get that on camera? So make sure Sam
you
can
can
get
use
that.
that as a testimony.
But let's teach a little bit.
But
So talk to me about, because you've doubled, That's great. I
Well,
mean,
we
but-
were afraid to hire employees before,
Okay.
because we didn't want to pay money for,
Couldn't afford it.
because we couldn't afford it. And then we realized later that we really couldn't afford to not have employees, especially when we were having so many leads come in and having to set that sales process. So now that we have all these leads coming in, we have employees now that help us through it. And do you want to talk about this?
Our biggest issue and what we're still working through is setting up a process, a consistent process. Because I always think of, if you order a Big Mac anywhere across the country, the world, they make it the exact same way. And we are not at that point yet, but we're working through the kinks, and we bring in, so we now have an employee, our issue is not sales. She can talk to that door and sell it. But it's finding the time to have the conversation with that door. And that's where doing that along with having a load of teaching, 6, 7 privates a day and group classes, and being the face of the company, where you can't do everything. And that's where we're at the point of letting that go and try to delegate the different jobs for the right people and create a process to hold them accountable. That's what you guys have done such a great job and why you've exploded, and we're at that point. So now it's a process of, okay, the leads are coming in, you need to make sure to contact them first day, and then you need to follow up, and we offer a free week trial for everybody to come in. We need to make sure to contact them after they've had their first class, address any things, see how they're doing, any things that we can answer, anything we can help you with, any questions, concerns, and then make sure to follow up once the week is over or right before the week is over to close the deal. So we don't have a gap of they're loving it and then they go away and the next thing you know, a day, 2 days, a week. If we haven't followed up, then we've lost them. And to hit it when it's hot and get them to stay. And so that is, we're doing better, because last month we had the best month of sales that we've had in 12 years.
It's really cool.
Yeah, and it's starting to get consistent.
12 years. Can we get a round of applause for that?
And so that's, because right now, the only advertising we do is Cloud Rumor. Before that, it was just through referrals. I mean, we would try it, and that didn't really work, that didn't work, we'd do in the paper, or, magazines and things like that, and then, but and I always tell our members, our success is based off of your results.
Yeah.
But then, now you just blew us out of the water, which forced us to learn how to actually be business owners. Because we feel we're really good instructors. We know our product, and I've always felt that as long as our product is the best in the area, then we're going to be okay. But we need to be better than okay. We've got 3 kids. We need a retirement plan. We don't want to be doing this when we're 80. And now it's taking the steps that you guys have implemented and learning how to apply those things.
Right.
And we're in the middle of that.
Like Dave said too, you don't have to be the best. Orange Theory Fitness is a great workout, but let's be real. We know how to get in shape. You can get in shape in a bunch of different ways, whether it's Orange Theory, whether it's F45, whether it's something else, whether it's going to the gym yourself. But Orange Theory, Matt's location I just joined, 3 weeks ago, something like that, and they've got a good sales process. They know my name already, which is bizarre, because I think I've only met 1 or 2 people 2 or 3 times. Other people, I don't even remember the face, and they're like, hey Mike, and I'm like, because I'm ready to check in, they're like, Mike, I got you, and I'm like, that's amazing. Number 1, that was amazing. But number 2, what I really liked as well is, as soon as I joined, Cameron had called me and just checked in and made sure I had everything what I need, because my heart rate monitor wasn't working. And he's like, hey, just wanted to make sure everything's okay, maybe we can do this for you, maybe we can get you a chest monitor. I'm like, that's pretty cool, And then on top of that, I just went on vacation. I did the whole Disneyland thing for a week, and I got the worst allergies, and I basically didn't work out at Orange Theory, I guess, really. I did stuff at Mountainside, but I didn't really double up like I've been doing for 7 days or 8 days. And I get a phone call and a text message from Orange Theory. They know that I haven't been there, and they want to make sure everything's okay. They want to get me back and schedule a class. And that's all part of the sales process. The sale didn't stop when they got my credit card. The sale never stops. The sale is always going. The sale's happening right now. Right now, Matt's closing me by giving me confirmation I'm saying good things. Because now I feel like I want to stay with him even more. He knows he's befriending me. He may not even like me. I don't know. But I really do like working out there. And I like the fact that they all know my name already. And that's pretty damn cool. So the sale never stops. And the sales process, what you were talking about, that goes all the way to the end. Even when they've gotten their third year with you, they're still re-signing. You got to continue to do more stuff. Daniel, I want to really quickly ask you too. Content has been something that I noticed you've been doing more and more of, and it's been paying off in dividends. And in the fitness industry, it's weird. The funny thing is, I feel like in the fitness industry, there's more opportunity for content than in any other place I've ever seen. So much opportunity, because it's a buzzword, right? If you go to a party and there's a bunch of parents there, there's moms there, right? Like one mom says, oh, I've been giving my child this new organic blah, 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 it's so great. What does every other mother feel the need to do? One up them. Oh, I got this organic thing, I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. And now everyone, and it doesn't just happen with parents, it happens in general, right? And so people, like, actually knowing about healthy stuff is starting to become a trend. The whole biohacking thing is starting to become a thing. So there's so much content you can put out, but the barrier that I get is, oh, but there's already blogs on that. There's already content on that. Oh, I've already seen there's people that do that stuff. Everything's already been said. Really? Well, then why do your members ask you every single day the same damn questions? See, the thing we forget is the reason you see it all the time is two reasons. One is because it's relevant to you, right? If you own a Ford Explorer, what car do you see more than any other car on the road? Okay, so when you guys are helping people with nutrition, what's the videos that you naturally notice more than any other videos in the world? Nutrition videos, right? And on top of that, I mean, guys like me use retargeting. So if you're into dresses and you're into cars, what are you going to see more of on the internet? Dresses, because you keep clicking on that stuff. What are you going to see more of? Cars. And who do you think sees more clicks on more nutrition stuff? Guys like you, or the person that you eventually want in your studio one day? You. So for two reasons, that stuff seems to be more out there than it actually is. In reality, it's not. How many of you guys get inundated nonstop with Star Wars video game ads? Exactly, one. And that's why he had a Star Wars theme song. So if he didn't know retargeting, he'd think, oh, now Star Wars is making a killing, their video game must be that big. No, it's not. None of you guys even know there's a video game maybe. This guy can't get enough of it. So for you guys understand that, and you've decided to explore it. So tell me, I actually want to start with you, because you do a lot of content. I see you doing more and more videos. So tell me about the content and the strategy you guys have and how it's paid off.
We started with my first podcast maybe a little over, 6 months ago. I hate it. I hate podcasts. I do not like being there by myself, talking for 20 to 30 minutes, but because I know that I'm providing education to my clients, that's what it's about. They're asking you every day, like you saw in your videos, what's a good carb versus a bad carb? What do I do when I go out to eat? What protein is better? You have to provide that education and knowledge for them. We start with the podcast, then alongside, we have to teach our trainers. Your trainers don't know shit. They really don't. What they learn in their basic personal training certification, they don't cover the bigger picture when it comes to lifestyle changes. And that's a big push for us, which is covering not just the mind, but the client's environment, everything around them, from support from their family. It's just that we look at the bigger picture, because yes, we want them to come to us, but we don't want them to stay with us forever. We want to give them the tools that they're allowed to live just a leaner and healthier and just a more sustainable, healthier lifestyle without us. So providing that education is imperative to me. So I have to step out of my comfort zone and just kind of shove it down there.
How many of you guys would think it's stepping out of your comfort zone to go create content right now? Yeah. And what do you guys ask your clients to do every single freaking day?
Exactly.
For the purpose of getting what? Results. How many of you guys would like better results in your business? Stop being hypocrites. Get a little uncomfortable and do the thing that works, okay? How many of you guys have seen one of my videos before? Okay? Oh, you know what I should do? I should find one of the old videos. Sam, do we have that? The old video where I botched up like 400 times, had the weird haircut and the chubby face with no beard. Where I'm like, my name's Mike, and I just started, Sam started. It was like the worst. But you get, you get good at whatever you, over and over and over and over, right? And I still got a long way to go.
Like, Sam, that horse video is actually the one that sold me on Mike, by the way.
The horse video? Can I get you more customers? Of course I can. As I'm riding a horse.
I was
Or rid a horse. I never rode a horse before in my life.
And I was like, wow, this is the guy I need to work with because he's stepping out of his comfort zone for sure.
Oh my god. And you know how uncomfortable it was? Because it wasn't a regular horse. It was like, there was a name to that horse. It was like a show horse. It was a big ass horse. And I get there and I'm like, this thing is massive. I had to step on a stepper to get on this thing. And I felt like I was sitting on top of a building. And she's like, okay, now move forward. I'm like, let's just do it. But then we start walking and I'm like this, and I've never ridden one. And I'm like, and Sam made me do it 10 times. I'm like, can I get you more customers? Of course I can. He's like, no, that seemed unnatural. I'm like, this whole thing's unnatural. Riding a horse, talking about this guy. And my t-shirt, Sam, what did my t-shirt say? Can I get you more customers?
Yeah, exactly.
Of course I can. I still got that. I'll wear that tomorrow. How many of you guys want me to wear the horse I can shirt tomorrow? I'll wear that tomorrow. Okay. You know, the cool thing too, Daniel went all out. He bought things that I didn't even know existed. You have Snapchat glasses. Tell everybody about the Snapchat glasses.
Yeah, so
Did you bring them, by the way?
no, I forgot.
Oh, Nina, do you like that he forgot them? Yeah, okay.
I brought something else instead. It's a new toy also.
Okay.
But yeah, everything is out there for content creation. I just buy it and if I don't use it, then just sell it or give it to one of the staff who might play with it, with clients. So that way we have more content. But the Snapchat glasses is very cool because you put it on and then just push the button and it can record for 30 seconds and it automatically pushes it to your phone. So it looks like first person, like pretty real. It's pretty awesome.
Hands-free.
Yeah, hands-free.
Yeah, it is really cool. And it's got like kind of like a fisheye lens and all
Yep.
that stuff. So what do you guys think about these guys so far? That's pretty cool. So the great thing is, you're going to get to see Dave speak tomorrow, right? Yep. How many of you guys are excited to see what Dave's got up his sleeve? Yeah. Okay. Dave goes up tomorrow.